Everybody out there in YouTube land. I'm your host once again, Dan Thornton, and I want to thank you all for tuning in today to Lions Talk Live. You know what? We got a Thursday show edition, and I will tell you this right now, probably only going to be able to go for about 20 minutes or so today just because we did dock. We do have to get over to the airport once they call us to uh, unload and get checked out and everything. Then we got to race on over to the airport and in order to make our flight. So I get this is going to be the biggest show ever, and I apologize for that in advance. But unfortunately, hey, real life stuff sometimes steps in and limits what we can do. And hey, I'm just thankful to be able to get in some show at all today. All right, real quick, as you can probably tell from the thumbnail of today's video, I think the Lions have a lot of younger players that are potentially all set to make huge breakouts this upcoming season, which also means in the future we're probably going to face some real issues when it comes to the cap, even more than what we're anticipating for next year, with having to re-sign Amon-Ra St. Brown, Goff, etc. If assuming those guys aren't fully extended before that. But at any rate, I do believe Brian Branch. You've heard MCDC talk about him that he's going to be used in a lot of different ways this upcoming season. I don't think that it's going to be a mystery to anybody who's a Lions fan that this kid showed a ton of promise as a defensive back, which typically takes a little time to develop. But last year's rookie year, had some real stellar moments, had some other moments where, like I say, they were down, but he just wasn't as impactful as other times. It's my anticipation Brian Branch could be potentially an all-pro player after the results of this upcoming season. I think they're going to play him in the single high at times. They're going to play him up at the line a lot of times. They might play him out wide. I think he's more or less going to be a jack of all trades. He's going to be everywhere across the field. And I also think that's a reason why they didn't make a more active push to re-sign C.J. Gardner-Johnson. They could see the three-headed monster they already had with younger drafted players in the secondary for the Detroit Lions in regards to the safety position. And Brian Branch, as we all know, he's not just a safety. He can play some corner. He can play all across the board. So he's one of the candidates I believe potentially will have a breakout and significant impact this upcoming year and potentially even a Pro Bowl season. The other one, as you can see from the thumbnail, and probably not a real surprise to anybody watching the show or watching this team in the last year, Jameson Williams. I get at the start of the year, last year, when we had the suspension due to gambling, there were a lot of people starting to use the bust word towards him. But I think most Lions fans, about, say 3/4 of the way through the season, started to understand and recognize what this kid is, how much he's improved just in his time in the NFL. If you watch the show for a while, you've heard me talk about how much he's grown as far as mechanics. If you go back and watch him during college, when I would break down video on him, you could see some of the stuff he just didn't have to use in college. And whether that's just poor coaching or whatever, he was just so unbelievably God-given athletic. He could just go by people and beat them with his athleticism. When he got in the NFL, he had to recover from the injury, and I think most of us know he had to work on how to use his knees, how to use his elbows, how to use his plant foot, and then his dry foot more so he could create that same separation and break on routes. So credit to the kid, credit to the coaching staff for having coached him up. But again, using last year as the example, as the season went on, you saw more and more that opposing defensive coordinators had to start double teaming him. Even though we might not have always been privy to it as fans watching, if you see how other teams, especially once we got to the playoffs, were adjusting their defenses every time he came into the field and when he went in motion, when he went to this side of the field or that side of the field. Jameson Williams was drawing a lot more coverage from opposing defensive coordinators and notice. And you could see that in his results, which concluded in the NFC title game, where perhaps he had his best season as a pro, best game as a pro. And I don't think that's going to stop next year. I think he's going to further develop, and he could potentially be one of the biggest, breakout stories, most improved player of the year award, candidates. And Jameson Williams might just change this offense even further than it has last year when Laporta came on and Gibbs. I mean, the kid's got huge upside. All right, real quick, before we get into any further stuff with the video, just because I got to make sure I get this stuff in every day. If you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so. Making a push to get to 6,300 subs. If you could help out with that, surely would be thankful. About 80 subs away from that. So also, if you're enjoying the video, hit the thumbs up button. last but never least, outside of being a coach and a YouTuber, I am a realtor. And if I have been since the early 1990s. So if you're looking to buy or sell property anywhere in the state of Michigan, you see my number on the screen, give me a call, shoot me a text, 269-998-2384. Let me work on your behest, try to help you save some money either on the purchase or sale of property. Can be any type of property, can be vacant land, commercial property, secondary home, new home, etc. Give me a call. Let me see if I can help you out and make the process of buying or selling property that much easier. All right, welcome to Lions Talk Live. Let's get going with this. Again, if you're joining, closer to our normal start time, just so you guys are aware, I do have to cut it off probably after about 20. Maybe I'll be able to sneak in a little bit more of that, 20 minutes or so. But I'm going to say this: it just, unfortunately, just having to get checked out and go through the processes of getting back into the States, it's going to take a little longer, and then we've got to really race over to the airport. Otherwise, that might not go well. All right, let's see what you guys have to say about this morning's topic, though. Michael, we got greetings and salutations, Coach and Duke Crew, back at you. Hopefully, I'm the great one, Michael, and thanks for always being a part of the Duke Crew. Moonscar, what up, crew? Exclamation point. Now departing from the shore. Yeah, sure. Shore. There we go. Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but I usually do well with vacations for about 2 or 3 days, and after that, I'm pretty ready to be home. So being 5 days away or whatever it's been, 5 or 6, I'm ready to be back and ready to get back to work. Moonscar, I'm hoping we see a breakout campaign from either Levi or Pascal. Those are two great picks you got there, Moonscar. Joshua Pascal, I think later in the season you started seeing a little bit more consistency with him. And to your point, if you could get something out of him, if you can get him to really start impacting the game, this defense, him or Levi, could really take another step forward. You think about what we've added so far in the secondary, and then with DJ, this defense could really, if those two, Levi and Pascal, can come out and have potential Pro Bowl seasons, then that defense is going to be massively improved. You already know about some of the younger players like Jack Campbell on the defense that it's really stepped up their game throughout the course of last year. They've made improvements. If he can make another leap forward, he's probably another candidate to put on there that I didn't consider fitting into the thumbnail. But I think, as you're pointing out, there are a lot of guys that could come in and really change this defense in a hurry with some a little bit more improvement and development. All right, Bo, what do you got? Good morning, Duke Crew. Superdome or bust, 100%! Exclamation point. You know what? I know I'm going to do a video on it, or I'm going to power rankings, whatever, top, say, 6 or 8 teams in the NFC. And I'll tell you this right now, without doing a deep dive video into it, I do think the Lions potentially are either number 1 or number 2 in the NFC. And you look across the board at their roster and what we're still going to add in the draft, I think it's going to be hard for most people in the national media to pick against the Detroit Lions. And again, if you're saying they're not number 1, that's fine. But I think they're going to be either number 2 or number 1, just because there are no weaknesses or question marks really going into the season in regards to our Detroit Lions. All right, Quentin, what do you got? Greetings, salutations, all. We've got some good young dudes ready to go. Team is stacked to the max. You're not wrong. We've lost Josh Reynolds. We get that. We've lost Jonah Jackson. It happens. Cam Sutton's been lost. And, there's been a couple other guys like Anthony Pittman and such, but no real, I think, game changer. One can argue with Jonah Jackson, did you actually in some ways slightly get better? Maybe an argument can be made in the run game. We got slightly worse, but that will remain to be seen. As far as the secondary, the cornerback position, I would say even though we lost Sutton, we may have ultimately gotten better overall. So you've lost a couple players, and there were key players last year, but have we actually improved? And I think that's the question. I get Nate Sutfield. There's going to be everybody who says, hey, that wasn't a big move. Why we do it? But I will say you can easily upgrade from Nate Sutfield. You can easily get a better number 3 quarterback. But at least right now, and I'm going to assume that contract is not guaranteed in any way, shape, or form, or it'd be very bare bone minimum guarantees on it. he knows the system. The coaches know what to expect on him, and that's one thing we can say when they talk about re-signing players. They want to know what they're getting instead of guessing what they're getting. That's why they want to draft players, bring them in, re-sign the ones they feel are the key contributors. Because whether it's the draft or free agency, there is the percentage of the unknown. You think you got a good read on a guy, but that might not actually be the correct read. So hopefully I'm a good one, man. All right, Mutzgar, of course, a JMO breakout would be best offensively speaking. Yeah, I really think he's going to have a season that if he continues, if you use just the playoffs as an example, Mutzgar, it's like, oh, there we go. Sorry, it's still on the ship, so the feed isn't the best. But just make this real quick. I do think Jameson Williams is going to force defensive coordinators to pick their poison. If you don't double team him, St. Brown, Laporta, whoever else, they're just going to slice and dice you up. If you start double teaming them, then I do believe Jameson Williams is going to eat people exponentially. I mean, he's going to put up some massive numbers if you don't have people on him to double team him 90% of the time. All right, Lions fan, good morning, everyone. I think Brian Branch and Jamie will both become main players on the team this season, exclamation point. Can't wait to see Williams run all over defenses this year. And that's what I was just saying. If you're not double teaming him, the vast majority of the time, I think he's going to be a potential 1,200, 1,500 yard receiver with who knows how many touchdowns. I just think he's going to be a problem for just about every defense we see this year. All right, Trumps, what do you got? Woo! We can't woo too loud, man. People are all over the boat this morning. So, but you guys get it. And hey, tomorrow morning I'll be back to the regular show. Don't forget that. So tomorrow morning, back to the normal studio show, set up all that stuff. All right, Bo, what do you got? JMO and Green, there you go. Levi and Pascal are going to benefit from the new defensive line coach. Jack Campbell is going to roll. Those are all good thoughts, and especially with Josh Reynolds gone. Donovan Peoples-Jones is going to have, I'm going to assume, an increased role. Green will have an increased role. J-Mo, like I said, just because he's gotten so much better, he's going to see bigger numbers. Levi and Pascal, a couple of you guys have mentioned them along with Campbell, and I agree. I think they're all going to be on the upside potential. Levi, I think, just comes down to how much his back can maintain. All right, let's see. Eduardo, good morning to you, by the way, Eduardo. Branch for all pro. There you go. There you go. Branch could. Yeah, I knew you were going with that. I see the next comment. Yeah, Brian Branch. Yeah, I think he's in line for that without question. All right, Josh Branch is a dog. I believe he will be an all pro as well. I don't see someone play at his level as a DB as a rookie very often. No, and I think that's where you're spot on. He wasn't perfect, but on scale of 1 to 10, I'd say he was like a 7, maybe, like almost an 8 at times as far as his playability. And that's just incredibly high for a rookie to come in to be able to figure out the offensive schemes, all the little nuances, especially against some of the wide receiver talent in the league, let alone our division, the NFC North. I thought he did an incredible job, and you're going to assume the faster he sees things, his brain processes things, and that just comes with more experience. Yeah, this guy is going to be a huge candidate for some potential big season and games coming up. All right, Eduardo, the Lions converted a 3rd and 15th because of JMO being able to pull away multiple defenders. Yeah, and that's what I've been saying all morning. Is I just think he changes defenses so much that he's just one of the rare ones out there, 100%. And we've got him. All right, let's see. Miles, good morning. Good morning to you too. John King, morning crew. Hooker is the wild card. I am watching to break out. Okay. Hope he gets a chance to play. Goff has has too many limitations for me. Fair enough, man. And I get it. The backup quarterback is usually the most, I don't know, beloved player on every team. Everybody just wants him to be that guy, and he might end up being that guy. Hendon Hooker might just be the real McCoy or whatever, the real deal. He might just be the game changer that forces the Lions to go in a different direction. It's my guess right now. Goff is the current and future. But you know what? If Hendon Hooker comes out and proves himself to be the better man, then good for him, man. I mean, that's what you want. You want competition. At least me as a coach, I don't ever want to say somebody's a lock to for any position. Just step up and let the best person win. All right, Robert. Today is the first day of the rest of our D Danny. All right, fair enough, man. Well, yeah, I'll be back at the studio tomorrow, man. So back to the normal show, back to the Circle K. And yeah, I haven't had a Mountain Dew in days, man. And let me tell you, I'll be stopping on the way back from Detroit today to get one. Scott, offense, JMO. All right, D feels like Broderick Martin will step up and be a leader like Reader. There you go, leader like Reader. I know I've talked about, I think Broderick Martin has a real opportunity to maybe not be a starter this year, but be an impact player. You know, if he can just be in the rotation and give, say, 30 to 40 snaps a game, and that's a lot for a deep tackle. But if he can get anywhere around that and be impactful, I think the narrative on Broderick Martin will change exponentially. And if you guys haven't ever seen this guy and his snaps when he gets off the ball, man, dude is athletic and he's massive. So I get he didn't have a huge rookie campaign. I think a lot of that was just getting in there and trying to teach, coach him up, get him some better mechanics and stuff. Because you could see his mechanics weren't very strong. We were talking about JMO earlier, where in college he could probably just run by people. The coaches, I don't agree with it, but the coaches probably didn't really focus on his development from a skill standpoint or a mechanical standpoint, just because he was so athletic. And I think a lot of that is Broderick Martin as well. Bo, what do you got? Yeah, and Broderick Martin, 100%. Yep, yep. All right, Eduardo. The rookie edge will have a breakout. You'll see. There we go. It'll be interesting who we get there, but you guys have already heard my take. I still think it's going to be James Houston. And if it is, along with that defensive line, I think, man, Houston might have just a phenomenal season, especially if everybody around him helps mitigate his weaknesses in the run game. All right, Dave, what do you got? Gilmore to break out this year. Fair enough. That'd be a great find for the Detroit Lions if that happens. All right, Moonscar, what stat line do you think JMO could end up with to call it a breakout season for him as a number two? I'm thinking 65 receptions, 1,000 yards, 6 to 8 touchdowns. I'm going to go with probably close. I'm going to go with 70, 80 receptions, probably. I'm thinking 12 to 1,400 yards. Touchdowns, man, that's a tough one to predict. I'll go with 10 or 10-ish. How about that? All right, Burger Time, what do you got? Good morning, Duke Crew. And Dan, JMO will be a breakout player this year. He's put the work in, and I'm excited for him. Yeah, 100%. He took a lot of flack, it was for stuff outside of his control. His rookie year, basically it was a wash. He was just injured and recovering. Last year, did not get off to a great start with a gambling situation. Thankfully, he was able to get on the field. And to me, I wanted to see as a coach was that just steady increase, game in, game out. And I felt like we got that. All right, guys, I got about maybe 7 minutes left, and then I got to roll because I can already see people starting to head for the lines. All right, Donkey Kong, Super Bowl or bust, 100%. And thank you for that, Donkey. Hopefully having a great morning, my friend. Broski Barrett. The team is stacked, not even close, bud. The secondary and linebackers are average at best, other than Hutchinson, no defensive end. On offense, no number 2, no number 3, no number 2, tight end. Bears and Broski Bear, Bears will smash the Lions. All right, Broski Bear trying to pour some mellow yellow into our Mountain Dew. So, I mean, it could have happened, sure, Broski, but I'll say this. I do think I would disagree. I think as far as wide receivers, I do think we've got a number 3 wide receiver. Tight end, maybe making an argument there, but we also need to wait and see what happens to that position. Defensive end, I do disagree. Now, remember, both times we played the U guys last year, we didn't have James Houston. And I do think if I recall the year before when James Houston was a rookie, he destroyed the Bears. I mean, Justin Fields did not want to run around him because James Houston was on fire both games against him and a difference maker. I get Justin Fields is not going to be your quarterback this year, but I will say that I'm going to say Williams is going to be a rookie, and a rookie typically doesn't do well. Maybe he'll be the rare exception. That's totally possible. But I do think that defensive end, at least in my opinion, we've probably overall gotten better. You've got some arguments at tight end. As far as the defense, man, I don't know. I think the secondary has gotten better. Linebackers, you say average, but you look at the numbers that Alex Anzalone put up, and I'm not going to say he's like Mike Singletary or something like that. But I also think Jack Campbell is going to be much better in year 2 than he is year 1. Most rookies are, right? So we'll see what shakes out, man. Bo, all right, good morning. Good morning to you too. Let's see. Let me scroll down a little bit more here, guys. Bo, let's not underestimate the value of a third quarterback. Clipboard Warriors. Yeah, there's some great paychecks if you can get them, man. One funky broski, but it's early to smoke some meth. That happens, man. All right, Dr. Troy. Debarking soon. Yes, you packed up ready for customs. Yeah, we're all set. Like I said, I can probably get in about 5 or so more minutes, but yeah, people are moving and shaking around, and I'll be heading out, getting ready for the lines to check out, get off the ship, and then over to the airport. All right, Trey, what do you got? We're rising to all Branch and Campbell on defense and JMO on offense. I think all of them are great picks. And Campbell, man, if he really develops where he can make a significant jump forward at that linebacker room, I get Broski's point. It might not be the all-star team or whatever. It might not be the best linebacking crew in the NFL, but I don't think they're bad by any stretch. And Campbell, man, the dude is a missile when he's moving around. And the faster his brain, sort of like Brian Branch, faster he can read things and react, get to where he doesn't have to think. That's where I think you're going to see both players make a massive leap this year. All right, Josh, excited for the Flip. To see Flip and MCDC work to try some new things on the new kickoff rules. Yeah, that's a good point with that. There's going to be a lot of teams experimenting and looking to the XFL and similar leagues that ran some stuff like that. Who do you think will be our return specialist? Maybe right now I'll go with Donovan Peoples-Jones. And there could be other people. Craig Reynolds, I know, did it some last year. Khalif Raymond did it some. But what I want to see is, since you got two guys back there, how are they going to incorporate that person, like somebody basically be a fullback to the halfback? I think you're going to see a lot of growth opportunity out of the kickoff system with this. I think there could be some excitement to it again. You could see some real good returners, their values and their contracts rise exponentially if teams learn to adjust to this correctly and quickly. Good call on that, Josh, by the way. Andrew, what do you got? Good morning once again, Captain. Hey, thank you for that. And hey, last day at sea, or last hours, I could say, at sea. And then, ready to hit on the plane. Eduardo, what kind of stats does JMO have to put up to get his 5th-year option picked up? Man, if he does anything like, I know a number of us talked about, somewhere around 1,000 yards, 1,200 yards, 6 to 10 touchdowns, I just don't see him leaving. There's just not enough guys in the league like him. He is incredibly rare. All right, Mike DeMarine, howdy, Dan, Lions faithful, back at you. See, Dr. Detroit, Broski, Bear, Sex, they were last in the North. Get off the map before you talk all that stuff. Fair enough, man, fair enough. All right, Dave, it's not legal to have enough players on the field. Yeah, it's not legal to have enough players on the field to cover all our guys. Yeah. And that's, I think, the problem a lot of defense are going to have. I get everybody's going to say, hey, we got to get the quarterback, bust up the offense and everything. But, to Broski's point, I do think the Bears have gotten much, much better. I also think both times they faced this last year, the offensive lines were beat up. And, yeah, we were without some players here and there. We'll see what happens, man. I mean, anything can happen. Teams rise and fall so fast in the league. I just think the Lions are still going to win the NFC North and be one of the top teams in the NFC overall. Wardo, safe travels. Thank you. Thank you very much for that. All right, Matthew Greens and salutations. Good morning, everyone. Super Bowl or bust. Woo! J-Mo, Ansarika, Pascal, Branch, Martin. All good players to consider for breakouts, 100%. All right, just 1 or 2 more minutes, and I really got to hustle. I mean, the Lions are starting to form. All right, Eduardo, good morning, Coach Duke Crew. Division or bust. Beat Bears, Packers, and Mini. Yeah, and I still want to know what's going on with Minnie, but I think we're all going to have to wait until the draft to really know what's going on. Phil, good morning. Good morning to you, too. Looks like you're out there doing a little fishing, my friend. Firebird, what do you got? Firebird Gamer, do you think the Lions are going to draft a new kicker in the draft? I do. I think they're going to take somebody late in the draft and just have competition. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's where I would be leaning. Andrew, what do you got? Lions should get a kicker. I think they will. Yeah, I think they will. Phil, any Mountain Dew on that ship? There hasn't been, man. So I'm ready for one. When we land in Detroit, I'm going to be getting one. All right, Eduardo, if Hooker's ceiling is Goff, you have to move on, right? Yeah, Man, it's a tough one because there's a lot of variables. But to me, if you're moving off Goff to Hooker, you got to believe that Hooker can far supersede Goff. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's the way I would look at it. If I feel like they're just even, given all that Goff's experience he already has, it's gonna be tough to move on from. Destiny, Robert Destiny, fair enough. Silver Surfer, good day, coach, and everyone else. God bless. Back at you. All right, two more here, and then I got to roll, guys. All right, Andrew, I love Goff so much. My only gripe is there's a play or two every game where there's room to run, convert a first down, and he doesn't see it. He may see it. I just don't know if he's willing to do anything about it. Drew, what do you got? Good morning, Dan and the Duke crew! Exclamation point. Safe travels back home today. Most importantly, go Lions. You guys, safe travels is important too. Yes, I'll go with that. And thank you very much for that, Drew. Hopefully, having a great morning. Moon Scar. Oh, look, Bo. Oh, now we have a boo. A boo and a bow. All right, there we go. Troy, feel like our secondary is going to have a completely different look this year. More talent and the depth up front is only going to make them better. Iffy, Branch, Carlton, all day, big years. Yeah, all going to have big years. 100% with that, man. 100%. I think they're vastly improved. All right, Broski, Jameson and his 25 career catches will all of a sudden become a legit number 2 receiver. Yeah, right. Well, you could say the same about a rookie quarterback. I mean, what have they done in the NFL? I get Caleb is probably going to be okay, but every player has to have that moment where they go from nothing to something. It just needs opportunity to grow. And what I could say, at least from my opinion, last year, all I wanted was him to steadily improve game after game, and I thought he did. In the NFC title game was perhaps his best game in the biggest moment against one of the league's best defenses. That wasn't lost on me. All right, Dave, I love your dedication to the show. Can't wait for the draft. Yeah, and we're less than a month away, man. You know what? It's going to be great. All right, guys, I got to get going. Donkey, hit that like, folks. Yes, 100% with that. I got to get going. I got to make it to the lines. Got almost a half hour in today, but tomorrow I'll be back in the studio, back on to the normal 1 hour, 7 to 8 a.m. Setup. So if you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so, making that push to get to 6,300 subs. We're about 80 away. If you enjoyed today's video, hit that thumbs up button. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day. If I can get some breaking news to you guys, if there is some, I'll work on it, but it's going to be a little limited today with all the travel. Otherwise, take care. We'll see you all in the next Lions Talk Live. Take care, everybody.